peeps, Chris here, and in this video we are looking at one of the new figures from the Mythic Legions line from the wonderful artisans at Four Horsemen Studios. This fella, this hairy fella with a lot of weapons, is called Attlus the Conqueror. I believe this is the second version of him. So we're going to open up Attlus and see what all his menacing glory is all about. Before we look at Attlus the Conqueror from Mythic Legions, I just thought I'd show you some of the stuff that I picked up at the recent ozcomiccon. So ozcomiccon, as the name implies, is a huge comic convention in Australia. So the one that was recently held in Perth was just up the road from me, so I walked there. It's a lovely sunny day, and normally I don't go. I think the last time I went was about 3-4 years ago. It's not cheap to get in. It's like $47 for one ticket. So I was umming and ahhing, but glad that I did. It's, even though the name says Comic Con, it's really a big focus on manga and anime and cosplay. But there was certainly D&D and tabletop role-playing games there as well. But yeah, it's just awesome to see a lot of young people really dressed up in their favourite characters and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't get a ton of stuff, but I did get some stuff. So let's have a look at the stuff I grabbed. As soon as I walked in, I went to Artist Alley and I talked to this artist who I'd never heard of before. So Benny Mino Brady. I have probably butchered that name, so apologies. But he was a really lovely fella, and I think he said this was his first time in Comic Con, so I was just flicking through, fellow Aussie. And yes, glad I grabbed his art book. Psylocke is one of my faves, so he does a lot of work for Marvel and DC, as well as some Marvel trading cards as well. Absolutely awesome. And this is the piece that kind of made me talk to him, because it's the classic Superman costume with Henry Cavill's face, and he said, not a lot of people noticed that, picked that up, so well done. So yeah, it was actually a really good chat with him, you know, like 5-10 minutes we just chatted. So I grabbed his art book, which I do recommend grabbing, and obviously you can follow him on Instagram. I had my Batman shirt on that day, lovely Warhammer 40,000 picture there, and I was looking at some of his art prints as well, but I didn't want to spend all my money at the first booth. So he was kind enough to gift me this lovely Batman print. So this is like A3 size, and yeah, absolutely awesome. My video doesn't do it justice, but yeah, he gave that to me for free, so I'm glad I wore that my Batman shirt that day. King's Comics was there, so I'm very glad they were there. They're probably Australia's biggest comic store, I would say. So they flew all the way from Sydney to Perth with a whole bunch of comics, and they were really the only place that kind of had the action figures that I was chasing. I'd be after this guy, Cardiac, a very obscure 90s Superman anti-hero from the pages of the 90s Spidey comics for a while. Relatively new from the Marvel Legends line from Hasbro. I hadn't seen him at JB Hi-Fi, which normally stock all the Marvel Legends figures, so very happy to see that. So yes, very happy to see Cardiac, so I'll probably leave him on card. I do like these thick cards with the logo kind of based on the Spider-Man animated series, so that's really the only traditional action figure I bought at ozcomiccon. I'd also heard very good things about this Transformers run, a part of the Energon universe from Skybound by Daniel Warren Johnson. So I thought I'd grab this trade of the first 6 issues. So yes, very happy to grab this as well from King's Comics. Hearing a very good thing, but that's not the only Transformers thing I got. King's Comics, they didn't have a lot of comics, funnily enough. They had some like graded comics. They didn't have any back issue bins, which is fair enough. It's a long way for them to travel from Sydney to Perth, as I said. But they did have pretty much like a whole wall of Transformers figures and blockies. And I've got a couple of the blockies, you know, the kind of like almost more posable modular Lego figures that you make yourself. They're pretty awesome. So I've got I got some of the smaller ones, which I think like $4 or $5, and the larger ones, which are $11 or $12. So I grabbed them. They're blind boxes. You don't know what you're going to get, but you just put them together yourself, and it's pretty fun. So this is Decepticon Swindle, which is pretty cool. This is Tarn, and I didn't know who Tarn was. I've heard of the name, but apparently he's quite a new IDW comics character. So yeah, lovely Decepticon symbol mask, and you know the guns come off and they can, you know, put them in their hands or that kind of thing. So they come with different hands, and yeah, they're pretty awesome. They come with bases as well, so pretty cheap for all the stuff you get with blockies, and they come with obviously instructions and little cards with the QR code as well. The instructions aren't always the easiest to follow, but once you've done one, especially the legs and the arms kind of follow the same beat. So yes, very detailed, very poseable, and yeah, pretty cool action figures for how cheap they are for sure. So this guy is Tarn. You'll see behind him is Shockwave. Pretty happy to get him. As I said, these are all blind bags. Come with an couple of extra hands as well. So yes, awesome Shockwave figure. One of my favourites growing up. Never actually had the vintage figure growing up, but yes, happy to get this representation. And yeah, they're just little but very poseable. And one of the ones that wasn't a blind bag was the head of Unicron. Remember from the Transformers, the movie. And this fella's actually translucent, not that you can kind of see, but he's got a hinged jaw as well. And it comes with a stand, so very poseable, so pretty cool Unicron. And he came with this little ship as well, which you can eat. So yeah, there's quite a few different ones you can get. So I'd love to be able to get Ultra Magnus on the back there. He'd certainly be one. It's just a shame that they're all blind bags, so you don't know what you're gonna get. But yeah, pretty happy with this selection of pretty cool Transformers blockies from King's Comics. I'll probably get a few more just to see if I can get like Ultra Magnus and that. But yes, pretty happy with this small collection for sure. I was at the table called Every Trick Books. That's one of the good things about ozcomiccon, is a lot of people there just selling their artwork and things they've made, like earrings and all manner of things, and a lot of 3D printed stuff as well, and quite a few tables doing D&D and tabletop role-playing stuff as well. So Every Trick Books had a whole bunch of stuff there, but this is the only thing I picked up. So this is a Dungeons and Dragons adventure called Temple of the Dreamweaver, and it's got everything you can imagine. And you also emailed me a PDF of this, which is awesome, so very nice. So yeah, I was chatting to the guy for a few minutes, which is lovely, and it's good to see just people putting their own work out there and just kind of chasing their dreams and all that kind of stuff. So yes, I do recommend checking out their website, Every Trick Books, if you're interested in supporting a local Australian TTRPG content creators. I won't go through all of the stuff I picked up from Gestalt. So Gestalt is Australia's biggest comics publisher. Basically, they've been around for quite a number of years for sure, and yes, I always make sure that I pick up the latest and greatest of whatever they've got on offer and just chat to the guys and girls there, which is an awesome time. So yes, here we go, a bunch of stuff from Gestalt, different adventures. Very happy to receive to grab this, the Undertaker Mortonstone, bit of a cult classic character from Australia's comics publishing history in the 90s. So that's a collection of his adventures and all the new stuff that they just keep pumping out. Such amazing stuff. So definitely check out Gestalt on the socials. And one of the great things they're known for is their work with local Indigenous creators as part of their Indigiverse. And this is the latest issue number 4 of Dark Heart. And yeah, it's just great just to see local people, local writers, local creators, local artists working with Gestalt, a local publisher. So definitely give Gestalt a follow for sure. If you've been collecting action figures for a while, you would have heard of the name Mythic Legions. They are from the Four Horsemen Company, very loyal fan base. They have Cosmic Legions as well, which is their sci-fi action figure line, but Mythic Legions has been going for quite a few number of years. They keep pumping out different waves. There's a whole mythology and lore behind all these characters, and in fact they've just had successfully funded their first Kickstarter, which is their Mythic Legions role-playing game. So I funded that and looking forward to that appearing in the next year or so. So yes, this guy is Attlus the Conqueror, or Attlus the Conqueror 2. A bit of a bio about him, so I'm assuming that this is the second version of this character, because sometimes they do re-release fan favourites with different paint schemes or accessories and that kind of thing. So as you can tell, it comes with a whole bunch of stuff and a bit more mythology and stuff and other characters on the back. But yeah, they've all got different factions and different emblems and stuff, so the world building is certainly on point. So if you're after something different from your normal Marvel and DC and whatnot, definitely give Mythic Legions a look. They're probably twice the price of normal like Marvel Legends and McFarlane figures, because you know, Four Horsemen aren't as huge as Mattel or Hasbro but definitely worth picking up. I think I've got maybe 4 or 5 different Mythic Legions figures. This is the latest. Let's have a look. All Mythic Legions figures come with a bit of a warning, I guess, about the tight joints. So definitely give them a warm bath or get a hairdryer to kind of tighten up their joints. And this is what he looks like out of the package. So pretty awesome. So you can see the different weapons he comes with. The second tray has got more weapons and hands, and a big honkin' axe, and a soft goods. It looks like a cape or something as well. So yes, a whole bunch of stuff he comes with. It's pretty cool. We're going to look at his accessories a bit more closely now, starting with this wonderful two-tone, two-color soft goods cape. Kind of goes over his shoulder and has a wire in it, which is great. So that's a nice accessory. We've got an alternate head, so the heads can just pop off with all the Mythic Legions figures, and it just pop the new helmeted figure on, and that goes with the shoulder to kind of give him a bit more of a gladiatorial look. This doesn't raise, but it's got a nice kind of blue brush and a bear's head, which is on the top there, and that's basically his emblem, his icon, his tribe, whatever. And as you take it off, you'll also notice that he has a lovely little necklace, which is kind of hidden by all his beard when his other head's on, but that's a nice little touch. So the head's easy enough to come off. And then got a whole bunch of accessories, including this wonderful shoulder pauldron. So a lot of Mythic Legions figures have this, and that will fit in to the holes on his back. So I think at least all the Mythic Legions figures I've got, they have holes on the back and a little square there, a little rectangle shape to give them various options. So this will help cover that up anyway. And then he's got big honkin' axe, and we saw this in the package. And yeah, just it's got that wonderful weathered metal look with we've got a blue gem, we've got some gold and silver on there, or bronze. Absolutely detailed. It's kind of got the Celtic-y kind of symbols. Absolutely awesome. Going with the gladiator look again, we've got a familiar gladiatorial sword. Again, looks like it's had some action on it, and a little gold hilt, which is absolutely lovely. Smaller dagger, which is pretty cool. Brown and gold and silver, with a bit of a bluey green kind of gem on the handle, and a lovely sword here as well. So that's pretty cool. So the gladiator sword obviously goes in the little scabbard here on his hip. The other sword is too long, and that looks pretty nice. Yes, as I said, the other sword is too long to do that, but there is another strap on his other hip, little belt loop there, so that can just feed through there. So pretty awesome that he can carry all of those weapons. He has no problems at all holding any of the weapons in his hands. And speaking of hands, as I said, he comes with basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different hands. So obviously 5 pairs. So we've got just the bare flesh hands in the more relaxed position, and the same with the gloved gladiatorial hands, and then more in the actual package, which include more clawing hands and fists. So pretty cool. And the little thing that popped out, I was wondering what that was at first. That's a little gold kind of thing, and that actually just pops. There's no instructions, but you could just basically pop the bear emblem off the shoulder pauldron, and that just pops in there. It is a bit of a tight fit. There we go. I knew I could do it. And as I said, the shoulder pauldron just goes in the little pegs there. The peg fits in the hole, and you can just give him a more armored look. So yeah, pretty awesome. So yes, and you can tell by the figure himself, as I said before, just so many colors. We've got the green kind of skull there, which is pretty cool, and we've got little pouches here. We've got an actual ring there, little chain things hanging off, and yeah, so we've got blues and all manner of things. Golds, obviously this is actual fabric. It does have blue undies on under that, and yes, just there's a little gold here on his feet, and we've got a lion rather than a bear head there. So yes, just with the scuffed up silver on his knee pads and his arms as well. That's the wonderful thing about Mythic Legions. They look like lived in dirty barbarian characters that have gone through the war. I mean, he looks certainly not like a unique character, doesn't he? With all of these straps and stuff, just so much attention to detail. Even there's different fabrics between these two straps, you know, they've got different textures and stuff. So absolutely wonderful. We've got a red jewel and some bone or claws on his bracer there on his hand. So yes, absolutely wonderful. You could spend a long time just looking at all the details of this figure. And look at that head sculpt. We've got a scar on his eye. Wonderful man bun, and the ponytail actually moves out the way as well. If you want to give him a bit of a windswept look, you can certainly do that. So yes, very, very cool. Very glad to have this Mythic Legions figure. Altar is absolutely looking like he's stepped out of the pages of a Conan comic, or maybe even a Lord of the Rings or something. And by removing the various pieces like the bracelet, the necklace, and the thing, the little bear symbol on the shoulder pauldron, you can give him a different look. And if you want to be really dark, you give him one of the more relaxed human hands, and it looks like he's just cut off someone's head. So yes, if you want to be, you know, really a gladiatorial pose, he's just removed someone's head from their body. If you want to be inspired, I will recommend looking at the Four Horsemen's website. There's some absolutely stunning action figure photography on the website, and they usually have, like, you know, normally 8, 9, 10 different photos of each of their figures. And that is where I discovered that this guy, Attlus, this is where it goes. So there's two loops. There's a bigger elastic loop which goes around the bear onto the shoulder pauldron, and that little one which I have placed there, I don't think it was meant to go there, that's why it was a tight fit, that actually goes into the one of the pegs on his back, and that's where the second smaller loop. So that just gives him a bit of warmth, I guess, in winter. And as I said, it's got a bit of wire to it, so you can get some, you can get it flowing in the same, you know, way as his ponytail to give him a bit more dynamic action. And the axe looks wonderful in two hands. Another thing I noticed is that there's only the right hand on the flesh and the left hand with the armored, because I was thinking, oh, it'd be good if I could fit the armored hand here, so we can have two armored hands, but it doesn't go that way. Obviously this is meant to go with that, so it's all completely armored on that side, but nevertheless pretty awesome. And as I said, just so many details, and it's not too overwhelming. All the little character and color choices really add to the lived in feel of this character. So Attlus is available now. As I said, he is the second version, and he is a wonderful backstory. He's the leader of the noble bear, which is why he's got bears all over the place. So yes, pretty awesome. So Mythic Legions, they are, yes, expensive, but they are definitely worth it. So let me know in the comments below, do you actually have any Mythic or Cosmic Legions? Did you fund their recent Kickstarter? And yes, will you be getting this guy or any others like him? So yes, if you like Dungeons & Dragons or any of that kind of stuff, it's always good to have a shelf filled with fantasy characters. So there we go, Attlus the Conqueror.